From the Clark Ford Studio in Oxford, Mississippi, MBW Digital proudly presents the Oxford Exxon Podcast.
I'd say thanks for tuning in, but why am I going to give you a round of applause for something that you're supposed to do, to be frank?
And now, here are your hosts, Chase Parham.
And broadcast school has really paid off.
And Neal McCready.
I deserve to be on TV.
Tuesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio this morning. We'll discuss a little of what happened yesterday on campus at Ole Miss. Matt Luke, Phil Longo, Wesley McGriff talked all in preparation for, or I guess in advance of, more than preparation. I don't think they prepared them for anything. Arkansas, 6:30 p.m. Saturday night from War Memorial Stadium in Little Rock, that wonderful venue that Ole Miss last played in, the last time it won a road game at Arkansas, for that matter, in 2012. I think Bryson Rose made a kick there late to win that one, if I recall correctly. Ole Miss beat them the next year in Oxford. Hasn't beaten them since, but it's been a weird set of games the last few years between the Razorbacks and the Rebels, with Arkansas coming on top in all those since 2013. So leading up into Saturday night at 6:30 p.m., if you're coming into Oxford, stop in at the Oxford Exxon, get the Speed Pass Plus out, because when you do so, you save money right there at the pump. You can combine that with the member Exxon Mobil member rewards as well. All kind of saving money there with all Blue Sky locations, including the Oxford Exxon at the pump with any Exxon in Mississippi. Come in for home game next week, Auburn. It is an 11 o'clock kickoff. We'll talk a little more about that here in a bit, but let them handle your tailgate. You got 3 slabs of ribs for $33. You got pulled pork. You got quart-size sides and much more, including the 49-cent bottomless refill. Go buy a Stadium Cup in the Blue Sky. 49 cents. Fill that bad boy up every time you come through. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what new Ford you are looking for, and he'll send you an email with a quote. Quote's going to be right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. It's just going to get you right down to what you're looking for, which is the bottom line. And then from there, it's up to you. You can shop that around to other dealers, see if you can beat it. You won't, but you can shop it. It'll make you feel better. Or you can just let Corey and the people at Clark Ford do for you what they've done for so many others, and that's take the hassle out of the everyday car buying experience. You get a great Ford vehicle, phenomenal service after the sale, great service in general. Corey wants to be your car guy. He wants to be your truck guy. Find out what that means. He'll prove it to you. 662-257-1900. Tell Corey at the end of your deal that you heard about Clark Ford on the podcast, and you'll save $500 off your already bottom line deal at Clark Ford in Amory.
So you watched Saints last night, stayed with it a little while, I guess?
I watched most of the first half and a little bit of the third quarter, and then I went to bed.
That Monday night game drags. It's pretty tough to stay up to the end of that sometimes for people like you and I who get up pretty early.
Well, I'll be honest. I did a 90-minute climb ride yesterday where I did about 35 miles, and I was toast when that was over.
Did you feel like Lance Armstrong about halfway through it?
No, I don't think I ever know what that will feel like.
Go get a yellow jersey and put it on one of those little spandex things.
No, I did get into the top 10% for a little while, but I
for a little while.
Yeah, I didn't finish
there.
No, I think I finished like 12 or 13%.
See, I think I'd mostly get pissed off at the end of that when I look up at the guy who won and go, "That's not even possible."
Well, the rumor is there are a lot of like professional athletes and stuff that do it.
Gotcha.
And I think that's probably
so. You could
true.
be running into a world-class athlete on the bike.
Well, like Michael Phelps does it.
Yeah.
And I'm not beating Michael Phelps.
No.
Unless we do something that's more cerebral. At which point I think
diagram some sentences or something, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, you want to get into a grammar competition, big boy? Let's do it.
Anything involving dexterity, however, and
right.
You're probably in trouble.
Anything that involves physical, I'm probably getting beat. But anyway, I did that. I was exhausted, and I knew I was getting up this morning to do another one.
And Michael Phelps, during the Olympic training, ate whatever he wanted to. I mean, in addition to having that body and having that physical fitness, he ate like 12 pizzas a day.
Can you imagine? It's so frustrating. Anyway, he probably didn't have the old-fashioned I had right around halftime of the Saints game. Anyway, that's how I went to bed.
He's more a fan of the herb compared to that South Carolina party that time, whatever it was, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So, anyway, no, I saw Brees break the record. I'm always careful how I say this because I was kind of a quasi Saints beat writer. I went to all their games. I would do a lot of their media stuff during the week, but I didn't go to all the practices, so I didn't consider myself a beat writer. But I did cover Drew Brees for 2 or 3 years, and Drew Brees is a pro. He's one of the most professional people I've ever covered, coaches, players, anything. He's one of the nicest, most courteous, down-to-earth people I've ever covered. I was happy to see him break the record. I was happy to see him break the record in the way that he broke the record. I was happy that they got his family down there just in time for him to break the record. And I'm a big Drew Brees fan. He's a class act. He was a joy to cover. He was always fair. Gave you wins or losses. Gave you thoughtful answers to questions. And as you know, when you work in this field, you appreciate that in ways that someone who doesn't work in this field really can't completely understand.
Yeah, I'll get some thoughts on that in a second. The Phelps diet from 2008, if anybody is curious, if you've forgotten in the last decade, breakfast every day was 3 fried egg sandwiches with cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, fried onions, and mayonnaise, 2 cups of coffee, 1 5-egg omelet, a bowl of grain, 3 slices of French toast topped, and 3 chocolate chip pancakes. Lunch was 1 pound of pasta, 2 large ham and cheese sandwiches with mayonnaise on white bread, energy drinks that supplied with another 1,000 calories. Dinner was 1 pound of pasta, an entire pizza, and more energy drinks.
That's disgusting.
12,000 calories.
And he would burn that in a day?
Yeah, he would burn somewhere between like 12 and 14,000 calories working out every day.
That's just nasty.
But I couldn't choke down 3 fried egg sandwiches with mayonnaise on them. I don't think.
No,
I'm not a big fried egg fan anyway. I don't think I could do that.
No, I'm not a big fried egg fan. And then the thought of fried egg on bread with mayonnaise is just disgusting.
Knowing you got to get 3 chocolate chip pancakes and some French toast down right after that.
I mean, I could eat the chocolate chip pancakes and I could eat the French toast. I would have a nervous breakdown as I did it. But no. And
2 pounds of pasta a day.
Can you imagine? Ugh. That's gross.
No enjoyment
man.
whatsoever.
None.
Just fueling.
Yeah, just ugh.
Carb. That's it.
And you wonder when you stop training like that, do you still want to eat like that, or do you?
I don't think you ever want to eat again. I
Yeah.
think you're miserable. But
It's disgusting.
yeah. Anyway, no, we've done the what ifs. I'm not going through now that road again. But I mean,
There are no more fascinating what ifs.
No,
than Drew
it's
Brees.
not. It's so widespread.
Yeah.
Like Bill Barnwell, we mentioned it. Like the story he did, he thinks Tony Romo would have been the Saints quarterback had he gone to Miami because of Sean Payton and some of those things. They think that Romo would have ended up in New Orleans. Is what he believes.
That's probably true. I don't think the New Orleans Saints are in New Orleans.
No, I think they're in San Antonio.
I do too.
Fairly well versed on that and think they're in San Antonio.
Or they beat the Rams to L.A.
Yeah, whatever. They're not in New Orleans.
I agree completely.
I mean, maybe it was Jeffrey. Somebody in a group text last night was like, who's been more important to a city? Because he literally saved the franchise. I don't know if you can come up with an athlete.
And that franchise means something to New Orleans that is hard to.
Well, yeah, because it's not the huge city A. It has obviously a lot of character and stuff. But in addition, I mean, yeah, the Pelicans, whatever. But it's not like they have 4 teams. They are the Saints.
Yeah,
That's what they are.
they're the Saints. There's no Major League Baseball team. There's an NBA team, but the NBA team just now getting popular there.
Yeah, it's a stepchild.
No, man, it means so much to the soul of that city.
And he won.
And yeah, of course.
I tell you what's happening a little bit. And now look, his reputation's ironclad. His legacy is ironclad, no doubt. there is going to be a small footnote. It's just lingering about him never taking any sort of pay cut to help the surrounding cast. That affected his window in some ways. That, Brady's taking cut after cut. I mean, it's not necessarily fair to Brees. Hey, you get what you get, whatever. Nobody's holding it against him.
Right.
But
Nor should they. But
it is off the tip of every tongue at the end of the conversation going, it's like a $38 million cap hit. Like,
and his response probably, honestly, would be, I'm worth it. And you see these kids? I'm setting them up. That's my team. I've stayed in your city. I've marketed your city.
Oh,
I've made it home.
Yeah.
I'll be the ambassador for the New Orleans Saints going forward.
Could run for mayor tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm sure the mayor of New Orleans wakes up every day going, I hope he doesn't run. Drew Brees has no interest in running. But he'll be the ambassador for New Orleans for a long, long time.
Yeah. He'll go into the Hall of Fame as a Saint.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just, I don't know that
He used it as a little hyperbolic, but he used it as a teaching moment for his kids last night. That was really cool. He was a father in that moment.
Yeah, it's cool.
And, you see all that emotion. And, like I said, he saved the team. It's hard to explain for anybody who's not a Saints fan or probably like a Browns fan or certain teams.
Or someone like me who covered that hurricane year.
Yeah.
Dude, it was over. It's hard for me to – I'm telling you, the buzz around that franchise was they're leaving.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you got all that, and the kid my age or a little younger than me that grew up and goes, I'm going to be a Cowboys fan, and you win 7 Super Bowls in the first 5 years and all that stuff. They can't relate to what it was like to pull for – because here's the thing about the Saints. They suck some years, but they really just made a habit of being mediocre. They won 6 to 8 games when I was growing up in the 90s and different things.
And when I was growing up 10 years before that, they
really
made a
sucked.
habit of sucking.
Yeah, but in most of them that I remember, it was they're just going to go 6 and 10. They're going to go 7 and 9. They're going to go 8 and 8, and they win just enough to kind of make you follow them, but not enough to ever be worth the crap whatsoever. The New Orleans Saints did not win a playoff game until the year 2000, and that took Hakeem dropping a football.
I'm aware
For it to happen.
I'm aware.
Just everything with this franchise, it was just kind of a moment last night where you go, I be dang. From a statistical standpoint, the number 1 quarterback in NFL history is a freaking Saint. Yeah. And it's sort of like, wow.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
He's going to break the touchdown record. He's not too far away from that one, too.
I've said this. I want to cheer for them. I feel guilty doing it, and so I kind of do but don't. I cheer for them and don't allow myself the satisfaction of, hey, that's the team I cheer for, and they won. Because they were so bad when I was a kid. It was like Archie Manning and then just a bunch of dudes.
Him just running for his life.
Yeah, they were awful. But our choices in North Louisiana were to watch every Sunday. This was before the NFL Sunday Ticket, obviously. You had the Saints, usually on KNOE, the CBS affiliate. And we had a Shreveport CBS affiliate that would show the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'd get whatever the AFC game was that day.
The Chiefs or whomever.
Which was usually the Steelers and somebody, or the Oilers, because the Houston Oilers were pretty good. Those are kind of the teams you watched. And the Cowboys were awesome. The Oilers were pretty good. And the Saints were, insert your expletive here, awful.
Weren't the Saints the first ever win for the Tampa Bay Bucks?
I don't know.
Isn't that right? In that year where they went whatever?
And I grew up in a town where Burt Jones was the quarterback of the then Baltimore Colts, and he was from Ruston. It just was hard to cheer for the Saints. It was like nothing to cheer for. I remember the Aints, the bags on the head, 1-15. They're bad.
Archie Manning's drafted by the Steelers, and he's just a worldwide superstar with 6 Super Bowls.
Probably so. Yeah, absolutely.
Switch him and Terry Bradshaw, and nobody knows who Terry Bradshaw is.
I agree with that, for sure. You put Archie Manning and let Archie Manning replace Roger Staubach. He's winning Super Bowls in Dallas. So much of the NFL is who drafts you. Especially back then.
Yeah, the first franchise victory for the Buccaneers was a 30. They were 0-12, and they beat the Saints 33-14 in the Superdome in 1977.
Yeah.
A franchise that had never won a game won 33-14 on the road.
So I'm 7 years old. I mean, there's no way that you adopt the Saints as your team when you're a kid like that. It's just no one gets it. But Brees is special, and I mean, he saved a franchise, and I'm going to tell you, he played a major role in the rebuilding of post-Katrina New Orleans. He did. I know it's hyperbolic, except it's true.
Got a little help because the NFL had the conspiracy where they sent Reggie Bush to New Orleans, and it's one I believe in.
Certainly
Just
possible.
saying. I just feel something about that. I just think it happened. I'm
Certainly possible.
I like conspiracies. I don't believe in many of them. I kind of do believe in that one.
It was interesting.
Hey, let's just this is the dude. Let's do this.
It happened the night before. All of a sudden, hey, Mario Williams is going to Houston with the first pick.
And you're all like,
really? And
Saints just waiting with open arms.
Well, you knew who the Saints were taking. Because Mark Hyman and I were doing radio. Mark Hyman was like, they should take DeBrickashaw Ferguson. And I said, and you should take a Xanax. You have lost your mind.
There was zero chance they were taking DeBrickashaw Ferguson.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember how long it took the Saints to get the pickup. However long the TV networks told them, hey, please give us X minutes. That pick was written down the night before. In big letters, Reggie Bush.
What kind of career did Ferguson have?
Good. Played a long
10
time
years?
with the Jets, yeah.
3-time Pro Bowler?
Yeah, very good player.
Yeah, good player. But
Very good player.
wasn't what they needed right then, though.
Needed explosion. They put him back there with Deuce McAllister, and it was fun, man. That was
NFC title game first year.
Yeah, and if it's not crazy weather in Chicago that day, they might win. I was there. It was nuts.
Yeah, because they won 2 road games to start that year. They won it like Green Bay and Cleveland, maybe. And then came home and played the famous Monday night game against Atlanta.
Yep.
Yeah.
Loud.
Oh, that Monday night game?
That Monday night game was loud. It was not as loud as the win over Philadelphia in the divisional playoffs.
All I remember really about that, we've talked about this, all I really remember about that divisional win against Philadelphia was on the first play of the game, Reggie Bush almost got killed. They threw a little swing pass out, and some linebacker or safety for the Eagles caught him up under the chin with the crown of a helmet and almost killed him. And I was like, oh. And then they ended up winning 27-24, I believe.
What I remember about that game was, damn, Jeff Garcia played out of his mind.
Yeah, that's right.
And you thought, Jeff Garcia's he's going to beat the Saints. But they would just have none of it. They made plays. And when they won that game, that place was so loud that old Saints press box kind of shook.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't think, hey, the press box is going down or anything, but I remember thinking.
Because that's before they put us in the rafters.
Yeah, I remember thinking, I'll be glad when this thing kind of stops moving.
Yeah.
But it was crazy. And then they went to Chicago the next week, and I wrote the story with the Chicagoans saying, we're so tired of hearing about Hurricane Katrina.
God.
Because they didn't understand it. The Saints were quickly becoming, Cinderella.
Yeah.
And it was a hell of a story.
Oh, I mean, there for a little while, they kind of became America's team, if you will. It was
when Reggie Bush ran past Brian Urlacher for a touchdown, I thought they're going to the Super Bowl.
And then they got
hammered. And then they just couldn't make plays. And who was Fred Thomas? The Bears picked on Fred Thomas that day. Poor Fred Thomas in the locker room after the game. We're all around him, and he really couldn't speak. There was nothing he could. He couldn't get words out.
Ingram helped them a lot last night as we kind of move on. He just changes that entire dynamic of their offense when they have the inside presence and catches the ball out of the backfield so well.
A Saints-Rams NFC title game would be one hell of a football game. You won't survive it, but it'd be a hell of a football game.
Yeah. It's crazy that it will have been 10 years since they won that Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, but they've been a relevant franchise.
I guess 9 years.
They've been a relevant franchise the entire time, in large part because of Drew Brees.
Yeah. Still playing at a high level. I mean,
Father Time beats
last
everybody.
night, like 26 of 29 for 365 or something last night.
Father Time beats everybody, and he'll eventually beat Drew Brees. But Drew Brees
It's taking him a minute, isn't it?
Drew Brees putting up a hell of a fight with old Father Time.
It looked like about halftime Washington would have been fine to go get back on the charter and head back to D.C. They were kind of done.
Oh, I think there are nights on the road in the NFL or days on the road in the NFL when you go, this just isn't meant to be today.
They've got a lot going on.
Yeah.
They're playing well.
They're playing at a high level and we're not. Let's go home. I think had that option been on the table, they would have said, can we?
Well, because the coverage was so bad on the record throw that you almost thought it looked fake. Like it was almost like, did they just let him do that? Because there was no one around that dude. There was not. I saw an ESPN Next Gen stat. That receiver for the Saints had 9 yards of separation. It was the most open a Saints receiver has been this season.
They're very good at receiver. Breeze is very good, and I think Peyton's offense is very complicated. It's difficult to defend.
A lot of bells and whistles and stuff, and a lot of formations.
I dare say it's a little more complicated than just chasing grass.
I knew you were going there.
Sorry.
No, I mean, it's potential. I mean, we're moving on. I promise.
They run, what I'm told from people who know, is they run very complicated route trees.
From scheme to play calling, Peyton and Sean McVay are probably the two best in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's probably fair.
And Peyton and Breeze have been together so long
It's just
that they basically complete each other's thoughts and sentences.
Yeah. Which is what's kind of scary about the Rams is he and Goff are just still learning each other. Yeah. Still year 2 as a starter.
Goff's really good. Goff's really good. Goff's going to be a superstar at year 5 in this league.
He's still learning.
Yeah, he's something else.
So
the importance of that, I mean, this is a hot take, everybody. Prepare yourself. The importance of quarterback in the NFL cannot be overstated.
Which is why you just pay, but full circle to close. It's why you just pay for Drew Brees whatever the crap you got to pay.
Yes, of course.
Okay, fine. Write the check.
That's why the Colts paid Peyton Manning forever. I mean, you know, until you break down physically. Mm-hmm. And Drew Brees, look, he suffered an injury in San Diego that a lot of people thought was career-ending.
Doctors gave him a 25% chance of being a capable NFL quarterback again.
I mean, so no one knows. Like, I was watching the Gordon Hayward thing on The Athletic yesterday, part 1. It was fantastic once you got past watching him break his leg again. The amount of work that went into that, the amount of self-doubt that went into that, the amount of, I mean, I imagine that, you know, there were a lot of moments, I'm sure, where it was just he and his wife in that house and him wanting to play football and her probably thinking, this might not be. I mean, there's just a lot there. So I don't blame Drew Brees for going, hey, you know what? I earned $38 million.
The other side of that coin is I do wonder, Brees doesn't get hurt, good quarterback with the Chargers. I wonder where Phillip Rivers ends up with and what that career looks like somewhere else, because he's been an underrated quarterback over his 15 seasons.
Oh, for sure. So, came out in the same class with Eli Manning and Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
I mean, where's Auburn? Where's Tommy Tuberville today if they don't misevaluate Phillip Rivers? They wanted him to play tight end.
That was a mistake.
Alabama didn't recruit him at all. Kid from Alabama. Alabama and Auburn offer him quarterback. He's done.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, podcast brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Stillwater County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. You're getting local underwriting that understands your market. You get the flow down option because you lock in your rate. If it goes up, yours doesn't. It stays the same. And if it goes down, it goes down with it. So give Jason a call at 662-234-2704 or JLowe, JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
Megan Phillips with LAH Real Estate's the person to call for all your real estate needs in the Birmingham area. With almost a decade of experience, Megan's knowledge and expertise can help you buy or sell your home today. Please visit her website, meganmphillips.com. That's MEAGAN, mphillips.com. Or give Megan a call, 205-602-7929. Again, 205-602-7929. Podcast also brought to you by Oxford University Bank. OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB is offering 1-year CDs at 1.75% APY, 3-year triple option CDs paying 2.01% APY. With that 3-year term, customers can deposit once during the term, withdraw once during the term, and or bump the rate if OUB's 3-year rate rises. To learn more about OUB, check out liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. Podcast also brought to you by Harry Alexander. Harry is an Oxford-based RE/MAX legacy realty agent. He's been in Oxford more than 4 decades. No one knows the residential and condo market in Oxford better than Harry. Go to his site. He'll prove it to you. HarryAlexander.com. Click on the Properties and Neighborhoods tab. Filter through by what you're looking for. The results you see are updated daily. So then send him an email. He'll take care of the rest. It's HA@HarryAlexander.com. And we're brought to you by Grenada Nissan. Grenada Nissan, located just off Interstate 55 in Grenada, Mississippi. Grenada Nissan has a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Go in, test drive one today. Inquire about the lease deals. Just tell Gene and Sandy that you heard about Grenada Nissan on the podcast or rebelgrove.com. They'll take care of you. You'll get Rebel savings on top of the already fantastic deals at Grenada Nissan. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com.
Podcast also brought to you by Tyson Drugs. TysonDrugs.com is the website. They have a great app as well. Look at it in downtown Holly Springs. They deliver wherever you are. Their phone number is 662-252-2321 to give them a call. Also, they're now in Oxford as well with G&M Pharmacy, completely remodeled. Great service that you have come to expect, though, and they deliver local in the Oxford area. That's TysonDrugs.com. All right, let's talk a little football, a little scheduling. TV times came out yesterday around 11:30, as they always do, for next weekend's games.
Yes.
Much to the chagrin of a lot of Ole Miss fans, as much as we joke about it. 11 a.m. for this one. Neil was joyous. Many others were not. 11 a.m.
There's no bigger disconnect between media and the fans than game times.
I was mad about 3 p.m. on Saturday. So
yeah, someone said, I bet you're happy. And I said, yes. The only thing that would make me happier than 11 a.m. would be 10 a.m.
Tulsa at Arkansas gets an 11 a.m. game as well.
Yep.
Alabama and Tennessee, the 2:30 game, for some reason I'll never understand.
Well, here's a couple things.
Okay.
If they took LSU, it would be potentially 4 weeks in a row for LSU on CBS.
No, I understand it. They just do it almost every year, and Tennessee has sucked for the better part of a decade.
But Alabama gets ratings. They're the number one team in the country.
I guess that's my point, though. Why waste one on Tennessee? I know they have a big fan base, and that is the answer.
Because what are the other games that were available for CBS here?
I just mean in general, year over year with Alabama and Tennessee.
Right.
I don't necessarily
mean in this particular week, when you look at what their choices are.
In this week, the only other one would be Mississippi State at LSU. That's it.
And they just done. They did LSU Florida at 2:30. They're doing Georgia LSU at 2:30. They're going to do Alabama LSU on CBS.
I think that's the doubleheader day.
It is, and it's a night game, but it's still a CBS game. Yeah. And so they run into some problems here.
They would have been, and I don't think so, because Vanderbilt sucks. There would have been a thought to be cute with Kentucky had they won.
Yeah. Had Kentucky won, CBS maybe goes, hey, you know what?
Let's be cute. We get a shot here.
Let's do Cinderella here.
Yeah.
But then they lost.
They're going to win, and we're going to do that.
But then they lost, and Vandy's bad.
So anyway, Memphis at Missouri, 3 o'clock. State and OSU at 6, and then Vanderbilt at Kentucky at 6:30.
So the way this thing went down, because everyone's doing this conspiracy theory, and
you have to look at the networks as much as you do the times.
So CBS had choice one. We just went through why they took Alabama, Tennessee. Frankly, it was their only game they could pick. ESPN then has choice 2 to put a game at night.
At 6 o'clock.
And so their two choices came down to, what do you want at night game on TV, Auburn at Ole Miss, or do you want Mississippi State at LSU? Mississippi State just beat Auburn, and you don't know what LSU's going to do. Decent chance LSU's going to be coming off 2 losses. Mississippi State might actually be the headliner there. So you play that game at night. That's the game you pick. Now ESPN gets the next choice too. Mm-hmm. This is the part people don't get. 11 a.m. is no longer the great punishment. The networks want to put, especially ESPN, wants to put an attractive game at 11 a.m. because that stupid show that I can't stand, Game Day, everybody else loves it. And they stay.
So you're leading in straight from College Game Day.
Yeah, Corso puts a hat on and does his stupid wave.
And they're going to go live from Oxford. Boom.
And
here we go.
Boom. So do you want to do that, or do you want to go, hey, live from Fayetteville, it's Tulsa, Arkansas?
Or Vanderbilt, Kentucky?
And the answer's easy. You go to the Ole Miss game because Auburn's a top 25 team.
And Ole Miss is going to be 5-2 potentially.
And Ole Miss is potentially 5-2, but right or wrong, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah, Big say it's not the JP game at 11:21 that's the afterthought.
Right.
And I understand the issue. I get it. I
get why fans are upset about it, but it's not, hey, you're dead last. CBS wants no part of Ole Miss because I'm telling you, they don't want to have to tell this probation story. They don't want to have to do it, and I don't blame them.
It's an interesting thing because somebody put on the message board yesterday and saying they're right. I'll take their word for it. I don't know. I didn't look it up. Out of the last 10 years, 29% of Ole Miss's games have been at 11 o'clock, home games.
Okay.
I think that's probably again, it's more complicated, but that's probably at least somewhere close to most teams except for LSU. For whatever reason, LSU does seem to get tremendous benefit to not play morning games in Baton Rouge. They do.
Well, it's a number of things. It's the way the pecking order works. It's LSU lobbies for the night games. It's LSU night games get great ratings. It's a fantastic venue for a night game. It is. It looks good on TV at night. They're typically a pretty good team with NFL caliber players.
Probably a large segment, not like the crazies, but probably a large segment of LSU's fan base that gets pissed off by the 8:15 games. And go, I'm not home till 3 in the morning.
Well, they absolutely do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of LSU fans that very privately celebrate 2:30.
Yeah.
I know them. But anyway, it's a lot of that. And it's also, I think, in the month of September.
Is it that much hotter than Mississippi or anywhere else,
Well,
though?
it's like Oxford. It's 5 hours south of here.
Yeah.
It's hotter.
I mean, we've all been there. We've all sweat.
It's hotter. A game at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in Baton Rouge is in September is probably dangerous hot.
Alabama played 2 in a row. Now, one of them was a road game. One of them was at Arkansas.
I just don't think there's a conspiracy to hurt anybody here. And I don't think the TV networks think of it like that, honestly. Look, you can't take the SEC TV money and then bitch about when the TV times are. It doesn't work like that. They pay a ton of money, and they get to dictate times.
And it doesn't really hurt the school really at all. The tickets are distributed. The tickets are bought, whatever. I don't think that changes anything other than, look, attendance is based off wins and losses more than anything else to a very, very high degree. I mean, that Kent State game was a little worse because it was 11 o'clock, but it was because it was a team that had gotten really badly beaten by Alabama. It was the third home game in a row. It had nothing. It had far more to do with those two things than it did the time of the game. And frankly, the little earlier game helps around town at night. They're going to do better at night than the game that's at 6 o'clock from an income standpoint.
There's some people that will come to an 11 a.m. game that would not go to an 8:15 game.
Yeah.
I mean, if you live in Jackson and you don't want to pay $350 to stay in a Hampton Inn room in Oxford, if you live in Jackson and a game starts at 8:15, you're not getting home till 4 in the morning.
I mean, ULM was at 3 o'clock, and no one was in. I mean, you saw the stadium. It was half full, whatever it was, 35,000. And the bars and restaurants Saturday night were packed. I mean, out the door, hammered, packed. So a lot of people came into town, just didn't go to the game, frankly. And then, two, because of when the game ended, because it was earlier in the day, you had time for dinner and drinks and out and go enjoy yourself and the whole deal.
And I promise you next Saturday, you could walk into the Grove at halftime of Ole Miss Auburn, and I bet you there will be 15,000 people in the Grove who never set foot in the stadium who come to Oxford for the whole Grove thing, especially if the weather is good.
We're going to go. We're going to hang out.
Whatever. We're going to party in the Grove.
Yeah.
I know lots of people who do it.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean, so I just don't buy that it's the end of the world thing that people do. And I don't think it impacts the football game either. I've been in Vaught-Hemingway when it was loud in the daytime. I've been in Vaught-Hemingway when it was quiet in the daytime. I've been in Vaught-Hemingway when it was loud at night, and I've been in Vaught-Hemingway when it was a morgue at night. I mean, I have, man. I've covered 11 years now. I mean, I've seen it all. I don't buy it. I understand the fan angst if you can't get up here on Friday and you're coming on Saturday, an 11 a.m. game is really hard. If you live in Macomb, I mean, you're leaving at 4 in the morning. But you're home earlier.
Well, you're certainly home early.
You're out of the stadium at 3.
So that's where it is. We'll see.
But yes, there were lots of happy media. There was every media outlet but one was thrilled at the 11 a.m. start.
And we mostly do it just to mess with you guys at this point, frankly. But it's fine. It's
people think we care. I mean, look, we cheer for it.
But it's not changing my day.
It doesn't. I'm driving to Little Rock on Saturday, and I'll drive back. And
as you figured out by now, after 10 years, we make a lot of jokes. We mess with each other and ourselves, and you too. So it is what it is. But
yes, if you let most media schedule games, every game would begin like at 9:15 in the morning, every day.
Anyway, okay. Yesterday. So let's see what happened.
Not much.
It was a more dry press conference than we've had maybe so far this season. Just a little.
Yeah.
I don't know about downtrodden, but just sort of through the motions, if you will. I thought yesterday. I did not think there was a lot. Usually, I kind of come out thinking, well, there's 3 or 4 things, and there's some thought in that. I didn't really yesterday. I thought yesterday was bland, if you will. If anything, there either was media speak and not on the same page, or some miscommunication. I thought yesterday. A couple different things that I noticed. Wesley McGriff again made mention to 80 plays, second week in a row. I did notice that. And at this point, he's just telling the truth. I don't necessarily think it's a shot or anything else. It's just reality for Ole Miss currently. We talked about pace pairing or whatever we talked about yesterday on the podcast with that dude from Oklahoma. But McGriff made mention that they would not extend Tyler Knight's package at all, other than maybe one pressure call yesterday.
Yes.
And then Matt Luke talked about getting him really comfortable to keep expanding the package. And I just found that disconnect kind of interesting. And again, it's a press conference, but still, that was strange to me.
I thought it was interesting. The other one that's interesting is Luke talks about running the ball, and Longo talks about not changing anything. Just. And I don't know how much of this is that this Monday thing is people go through the motions. I mean, it can't be an exciting part of Matt Luke's week.
Well, no. I
mean, it's boring. He's bored. I'm bored. Are you bored at the Monday thing? I mean, it's boring. Like, I'm taking notes, but I mean, it's boring a little bit. It's
you don't even really listen until you hear something kind of weird. You're just sort of typing. It's just kind of whatever.
Yeah, it's just.
Probably what the court reporter thinks half the time when she's in a trial.
People are doing a lot of the Matt Corral questions now because no one loves the backup quarterback more than media and fans.
Mm-hmm.
The answers on Matt Corral are interesting, I suppose. Jordan Ta'amu is the quarterback. Jordan Ta'amu is going to be the quarterback unless Jordan Ta'amu gets hurt. They're not going to put Matt Corral in there and give him a bunch of series for the sheer hell of it.
Does the migrant midgets from Moscow go for Ta'amu too, or is that just a Matt Luke thing?
I think that goes for Ta'amu as well.
Okay, gotcha. Just curious.
I think if he doesn't get hurt or get involved in some sort of scandal, he's the quarterback. I think they would like. There's nothing that drives me crazier than this. The assumption, and God, it is an assumption, man. Matt Corral's only going to be here for 3 years. Why? Are we really prepared to take this freshman quarterback and go, he's going straight to the NFL after 3 years? I mean, really? Are we going to do that again? Because I got a little more common sense than that. Can we wait and see what Matt Corral looks like against SEC opponents before we do the, oh, man.
Well, and especially with the current rule, what's the harm in keeping a red shirt? Dude could do anything, get hurt. I mean, there's so many variables to this thing over the course of a career.
It makes all the sense in the world to redshirt Matt Corral.
Let him play in 4 games and then hand him the ball next year.
It makes all the sense in the world. Frankly, playing him 5 games with Tamu healthy in a year when you can't go to a bowl game or compete for a championship is absolutely effing stupid. It's just this emotion. And it comes from a certain media person. To ask about it. And fans get, I'm not knocking the fan, but it's just emotion. It makes total sense from a program management standpoint to play Jordan Ta'amu. And I'll go one further, and I rarely say this. They kind of owe that to Jordan Ta'amu. He didn't leave. He could have left. Jordan Ta'amu could have pulled the, hey, this wasn't what I was promised. I thought we were going to play for bowl games. I came here because I was told there wasn't anything to the NCAA thing. So I'm going to go hire Tom Mars, and I'm going to get out, and I'm going to go to fill in the blank U and be the quarterback there. He didn't. He stayed. And he's done pretty well.
Been a standout citizen at this point.
Yeah, he's been a really good ambassador for your program. Why are you taking him off the field? Now, is Jordan Ta'amu a great quarterback? He's not. Are there some things he's trying to work on? My understanding, reading defenses and such, yes. But yanking him so that you can play Corral for a couple of series a game and potentially cost him a year of eligibility is stupid. Because here's a scenario. Matt Corral redshirts this season, saves his eligibility, still has 4 to play, loses 1 to injury somewhere down the road. You'd be glad you didn't give a year away in a year that you didn't have to.
Mm-hmm. And Jordan Ta'amu's a top 4 SEC quarterback.
Yeah. So play him.
He runs your offense. Does a good job.
I mean,
frankly, could do probably a little better job because he could run the ball a little more, but they've been very careful with that.
As they should be. Getting him,
and he's been banged up the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
too.
He took that shot against, was it LSU? No, Alabama. Took that shot against Alabama where, quite frankly, he's lucky it didn't knock him out for a few weeks.
Yeah, ran the draw and got popped pretty good.
Got really popped. Didn't see the hit coming from the other side. Mm-hmm. So I think you play him. You're halfway through a season. I know fans don't like the words meaningless season, but from a competitive standpoint, it's not meaningless, but you're not playing for a title. You're not playing for a bowl game right now. The Corral thing is a little overblown at this point. If Jordan gets hurt and Matt has to play, you play. But, I don't think now you play Matt. If you can get away with not playing Matt until the Vanderbilt game, you do it. Save it just in case there's an injury. He could play the last 2 games and still redshirt.
Oh, yeah, because he's got 2 out of the way. So
yeah. And he needed to play last week. I'm sure he was getting antsy. I'm sure he wanted to play.
Well, you want him to be antsy.
Yeah.
You don't want a quarterback that's very content to just sit over there and hold a clipboard.
But, come on. It's his job in the spring. We're not going to have there's not going to be a quarterback battle.
Frankly, I don't know who the quarterback is. So
I guess it's Alex Faniel's the only other guy.
He's a tight end.
Is he? I don't know. They don't
Tisdale? I mean,
I guess.
the dude that always plays. And I just don't remember his name. The kid from Texas, the walk-on that does all the scout team stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, I can't either. That's all I got.
I mean, it's his job. It's his program.
He gets to look around and go, okay.
Yeah, I'm saving his redshirt year.
And his first season at the helm, he's going to have Scotty Phillips. He's going to have Braylon Sanders. He's going to have Elijah Moore, who's going to be really freaking good.
Yes, and if
Miles Battle's going to be okay.
And if I'm wrong, and in 2 years, Matt Corral is a first-round NFL
That's a great
pick,
problem to have.
hey, guess what, man? Y'all lit the house on fire for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Congrats.
He was throwing it all over the yard.
The rebuild wasn't as long as you thought, and you'll be able to go out and recruit another quarterback.
Yeah. Hey, we got Chad Kelly. Hey, we got Matt Corral.
Yeah.
Picked up Jordan Ta'amu out of a JUCO, and look what he did.
But he's not going to stay 5 years. How do you know? Well, he's sure not staying 5. How do you know? Drew Lock stayed 5.
He did.
How do you know? He's 3 and out. Okay. Please give me the list of the quarterbacks who are 3 and out. It's just a small list, man.
Johnny Manziel.
That worked out well.
Yeah. I should have hung around for a minute or two. All right. Podcast brought to you in part by Visit Oxford. Remember Wizard of Oz coming to the Ford Center October 21st. Been telling you about that for a while. The Oxford Art Crawl is October 23rd. The National 10-Minute Festival November 15th through 18th. And the Nutcracker coming November 30th to the Ford Center. We're not too far away from the annual holiday market as well. And you can find all this plus much more at Visit Oxford MS/events. Don't need a football game to head over to Oxford. Just a little leisure time, no matter the reason. Oxford, the ideal destination, from conversations on the square's balconies to live music to spa retreats, anniversaries, and much, much more. You can find out again more at visitoxford.com.
Fresh off a thrilling victory of over the LSU Tigers, the Ole Miss volleyball team takes on the Missouri Tigers Friday night at 6:30 p.m. As always, admission is free at the Gillum Center. The Ole Miss soccer team returns home on Sunday as they take on Arkansas at 2 p.m. For more information, visit OleMissSports.com. The Ole Miss football team returns to the Vaught on October the 20th as they take on the Auburn Tigers. Tickets can be purchased by visiting OleMissTix.com. And Square Jam returns for 2018. Join the Ole Miss Hoops teams for a night on the Square on October the 19th at 6:15 p.m. For more information, visit OleMissSports.com. This podcast is also brought to you in part by John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you've been thinking about that golf trip with the guys you'll never forget, or maybe that anniversary trip she'll never forget, whether you've dreamed of playing St. Andrews or sitting at a cafe in Paris, talk to John Edwards before you try to do it by yourself. Why use John? Well, he's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows John to supply his clients with added values and unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. John traveled the globe for 37 years before getting into the travel business, so he knows the extra attention that is needed to make a special trip one that creates a lifetime of unique memories. So if you're thinking about going with the boys to Pebble Beach or taking her to Napa for the vacation of her dreams, call John. Give him some parameters and a budget, and let him give you some options. And know this, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. Call John, 901-494-3387, or send him an email at jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast.
Little something here. We hadn't really talked about this. It got on the board this morning. Javon Patterson leading a thing to donate socks to homeless shelters in Mississippi for anybody who would like to take part in that. Javon doing really good work. Been a great. We talk about ambassadors for Ole Miss. He's certainly been one during his career. Monday, October 15th, from 5 to 6:30 p.m., and then October 16th. From 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Fans can bring those items to, let's see, there's a gate at Baldwin Way Stadium. No, sorry, it's the visitor bus parking area those 2 days. That's south end zone next to the road right there is where the visitor buses park. And they're also going to have something set up if you're there for the Auburn game as well. But it's socks and footwear to be delivered to Mississippi homeless shelters on those days. It's called Patterson's Locker, an initiative put together by Javon Patterson, and then with the help of the SAAC, the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, I believe is the wording for that. So anyway, good stuff there from Javon. Let's see. I'm kind of curious here.
Okay.
My standard of reference is not always as good as yours because I've covered Ole Miss for 12, 13, 14 years, whatever it is now. And I'm curious. You and I talked about this a little bit before the show started. I've been getting inundated with it for months, but it's picked up again this week for obvious reasons. Are a lot of schools, or is it just the timing of what all is going on with Ole Miss, the amount of angst and the amount of hostage, not related to the video, that a chancellorship brings upon a university right now? Because it's an interesting dynamic that athletics is so entwined by the head of the overall university from a morale standpoint to me.
So you're asking,
is that normal? Like, what is kind of your reference on this compared to other situations that have been in similar turmoil over the years, I guess is the question.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss / the IHL has done a remarkably poor job of handling this situation. Bottom line. It was rumored long before I reported it, and then I reported it, and no one has come out with a denial, which means it's true. The chancellor is fighting to keep his job. There are other people out there that want the job. The IHL has kicked the can down the road a couple of times. People are antsy. Let's be real here. I hate doing this because it's going to come back on me, but here's the truth. This is not an indictment of Matt Luke, Chase. It's not. It's not. I like Matt. I hope he does a great job. I've been clear on that, and I think so far he's done a really good job. But there are people, and you see it on our message board, there are people out there that do not view his hire as the right thing to do. And they blame Vitter. And there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that Jeffrey Vitter played the biggest role in hiring Matt Luke. There's a lot of angst. Hasn't been big crowds. Again, it's the most forgotten football game in the history of Ole Miss football.
Texas A&M.
The Texas A&M game last November, an SEC game in November, there was no one there. The atmosphere was dead, and it was at night. That wasn't 11 a.m. Can't pin that one on 11 a.m.
It was the Tommy Tuberville Jumbotron day. It was the signed Dak helmet in the South Club or wherever it was that day.
It was just a bad look, and it was at night.
It was a lot of stuff.
The sun had gone down when the ball kicked off, so you can't blame that on 11 a.m., and it was bad.
That was a 6:30 start?
6:30.
Yeah.
It was a night game.
Yeah.
That was the night that I got back home at midnight. The house was asleep. And I poured bourbon into a glass thinking I was going to have an hour just to kind of chill, and my phone lit up like a Christmas tree with, "Hey, man, have you looked into Dave Doran? You need to look into Dave Doran." That was the Dave Doran night. Because I think I texted you.
Leading up into the Dave Doran week, but yes.
Yeah, I think I texted you at like 12:45 with my phone, ... And my phone usually doesn't do that because I don't get you get a lot of the Ole Miss fans that you're friends with who want to dissect games. I don't get that. So I got people outside of Ole Miss going, "Hey, man, you need to look into Dave Doran." I hear a lot about Dave Doran. A lot of buzz in North Carolina about Dave Doran, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I think there is I've said this for a couple of weeks now. The IHL is making a mistake. I don't know that they care. I don't know how it works, honestly. They either need to announce EA's out and we're going to expedite getting him out, or they need to announce, "Hey, we're renewing him." Get over it. I cannot imagine the backlash from that announcement. But
No, they are currently trapping the university in the middle. There's no doubt. Because I'm serious here. You're talking about a You got a first-year basketball coach that's trying to do some really good things in recruiting. The season starts soon. You've got a baseball season that's going to be weird as all get out. You've got a football season in the middle of it where they're 4-2, playing a very winnable game, but all the probation stuff. Buddies, people just on the internet, Twitter. I get Jeffrey Vitter questions more than anyone else. Someone mentions the Chancellor to me 3 or 4 times a day, every day. Not a day goes by without it.
And again, I don't have the Ole Miss contacts that you get, and I get it all the time.
It's every day.
Yeah, all the time.
What are you hearing on Vitter? What's going on with Vitter? What's up with the Chancellor? Who might the next Chancellor be? All the way around. That's all I get.
Well, because the truth is there's at least one big name that wants the job.
Yeah, the Robbins guy at Arizona, who I mentioned last week in that mailbag or Fireaway Friday or whatever it was, that's been a very, very prominent name for a long time that has come from a lot of different directions going, he's got Mississippi ties, he has a great resume, he's been all over the whatever, he was the head of the Stanford cardiovascular unit. I mean, a lot of stuff.
Big deal.
Big deal, whatever. But here they are. So that's what happens. I mean, that's like anything. Any disgruntled employee, you're not only looking at, I'm mad at him for whatever, you're going, we could have had that dude and that dude and that dude and that dude. I mean, you do that with coaches, ADs, chancellors.
Baseball free agency all the time, right? You sign one guy and you say, why didn't we sign him?
Yeah, look, Matt Luke might have never spoken to Dave Doran in his life, but fair or unfair, he's going to be connected to him throughout his tenure.
Yeah.
They're going to look up on Saturdays and go, hey, what did North Carolina State do today?
Sure.
They're 5-0. Oh, they got that kid, or they suck. Oh well, thank God.
And is that fair to Matt? Of course not.
No, good.
Of course
God,
not.
no.
But
Matt has no impact on that whatsoever.
It is what it is. I can't wait for some people to go, yeah, McCready said you shouldn't have gotten the job. That'll happen today. That will happen. That's when people wonder why I'm a little sensitive to stuff like this. It's because that happens routinely. The coaches are told, hey man, you got to be. I love this one. You got to be real careful with McCready because he and Kennedy were tight. Yeah, we were real tight.
You went about 2 years pissed off at each other.
We went about 2 years where he didn't speak to me other than in a professional setting, and where I was like, hey man, what's the problem? I mean, I reported was right.
Which you would later agree with, I'm sure. I mean,
we've talked about it. He agreed it was right. He just was pissed off at it.
At the time.
Yeah. He didn't really feel like burying the hatchet.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Whatever. It's
one of Mike's good lines is he used to look at you and go, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just not saying you're right. It's like, well, okay, thanks.
There's a song along those lines, right?
Yeah.
You may be wrong, you may be right.
Yes, I'm not always saying you're wrong, but I don't think you're right. It's like,
you may be wrong for all I know, but you may be right.
Okay, fair enough. No, I don't know. I mean, in closing of that, they've got to get something done, and they got to get it done quickly. There can't be a lot of schools in the country right now where the athletic supporters and the overall school supporters are checking board schedules to see when a meeting could be, where it's located, and any changes. I mean, that was the thing. I had been kind of following it myself, but I mean, they changed that November meeting from the University of Mississippi. It was supposed to be on campus back to the board room or whatever in Jackson. And I mean, it was just like blowing up, like multiple people going, hey, did you see this? See this? What's this mean? And it's like, I don't know, but it's interesting. And it's like, so I wrote it last week. And I mean, it's pins and needles right now over a chancellorship, which is certainly unique in some way. But no, they got to fix it. It's a problem. I mean, it's
why, in your opinion, are they not addressing it? Is it just the Ed Meek thing right now? They're putting some distance between that.
I mean, I heard it.
Or is it the ego of, hey, we hired the wrong guy years ago?
I'm sure there's some mechanics to it that I don't know.
Right.
I'm sure that is at least a piece of it. There's some mechanics to things that I don't understand. And I mean, just protocol, how you have to go about things, I don't know. But, yeah, well, it's a couple of different things. I mean, no, look, there are some positives to the IHL being in its current thing. But when you don't have everybody in that room really worried about your individual progress, your individual well-being, that's an issue.
Right.
You've got to get a board to agree on something when a very few amount of people on that board are actually Ole Miss people per se. The other people are kind of watching their interests for certain reasons. Like I said, I mean, it's a complicated deal. I mean, the IHL is still in existence for for some reasons involving basically Ole Miss being a financial backing for other schools. Going, hey, if we lose them, what about our bond rating? What about our this? What about our this? Well, what about this? Well, at the end of the day, that's not Ole Miss's problem. Like,
Right.
I mean, I get the greater good argument, but at the end of the day, Ole Miss is its own entity. It is trying to beat those other people in academics and athletics and everything else. I mean, this is not one big little conglomeration of, oh, we're all in this together, state pride, hold hands. I mean, you're a multi-million-dollar business. Succeed, however that takes. So,
Do you have any thoughts on the? We haven't talked about it. We're running, and we're hitting the point where we've probably gone too far. But do you have any thoughts on the letter to the editor in the Daily Mississippian that was signed by a number of faculty? I can't remember how many faculty.
a lot. You went to school of journalism?
Yes.
I saw this on Saturday. I don't think I brought it up to you.
I didn't hear about it till last night. There's a fascinating line that I couldn't believe that the faculty of an institution would put in that letter.
All right, people not understanding what we're talking about.
Okay.
Obviously, the Ed Meek stuff happened whenever that happened, a few weeks ago. And let me be clear here. The university has not sent an official response to this.
No.
They're standing by their statement from Vitter whenever that was.
They do that a lot.
Vitter came out very strong against Ed Meek and whatever. So, anyway, again, I'll credit him when credit's due.
Sure.
I have no personal feelings toward Jeffrey Vitter.
I don't know him. I've never met him.
I've invited him on the podcast multiple times. I don't get responses.
I wonder why that is.
I don't. I mean, I could probably push it a little harder. Frankly, I could probably go through official channels, but I mean, it's been well known that I've tried. So,
The girl at the Oxford Eagle that attacked me, she lost her job.
did she?
Yeah. I hated that because I was really looking forward to the day that I had saved the tweet. Go ahead, sorry.
All right, so here's the deal. There was a push by a few faculty members to replace Meek's name with Ida B. Wells is the new namesake. Ida B. Wells, the African-American journalist that is very, very widely known from, I think she was born in Holly Springs, did a lot of work in Memphis as well. Investigative journalist a long time ago to expose injustice, inequality, domestic terrorism in a way. I mean, very, very, very well-accomplished person. This has nothing to do about Ida B. Wells' credentials in the slightest. She's one of the most famous journalists in history. Just as an alumni or alumnus, I thought it was a little strange because there's no obvious tie to Ole Miss. Obviously, a lot of ties to Mississippi, but I think she went to Russ College for at least part of the time. It was a little weird to me given the fact that there was no direct Ole Miss connection when you do have some possibilities in that thing if you're all concerned with replacing it with someone right now. But no, what you're talking about, I'm assuming, and I'm reading this from Action News 5 on their website.
I've pulled up the entire letter because I want to make sure I get it completely right.
Okay, well, I'm reading from Action News 5. I'll read this part. Leanne Duck, an associate professor of English, signed the petition. Then she sent WMC Action News 5 a statement saying in part, again, you might have the whole thing. I've got the in part. So we have the ellipses, ... One of our urgent goals is to convey that this university serves all its constituents wholeheartedly. What better way than to name our School of Journalism and New Media after this incredibly accomplished and inspiring figure? If I'm Ole Miss, right or wrong, I'm a little annoyed at her for using that stance as we when the school has not put out an official statement on this. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That kind of bugs me a little bit because it's essentially saying, hey, we have to name this after a minority because of what happened. And maybe that's right, maybe that's wrong, maybe that's what they feel or don't feel, but I feel like a couple people have kind of taken this in their own hands to put the school's opinion almost kind of intertwined with theirs when the school has not said a word about this to this point. It's all a little sticky to me at this point.
Here's the sentence that I couldn't believe that faculty put in a letter.
Okay. And again, this is a group letter signed by faculty?
Yes.
Okay.
But based on the listening session with students and our classroom discussions, we concede that more must be done to change the hostile climate on our campus. Again, we conclude that more must be done to change the hostile climate on our campus. If I'm Mississippi State or a school recruiting against Ole Miss, I am taking this letter signed by all these faculty members. I mean, it is a long list of faculty members. I mean, you saw how long I scrolled.
Yeah.
I'm highlighting that sentence and going, why would you want to go there? It's hostile.
There's a hostile climate on this campus?
Not one that I was aware of, but it's not my words, Chase. It's the words of the Ole Miss faculty. I mean, you got to have some. Here's my point. Yeah, I know you didn't realize because you just kind of skimmed through it. When you read that and you hear it, you go, wait, what? There's a void of leadership at the institution right now.
That can't be allowed into a document.
Without at least being challenged. What is the hostility? And again, let me read. Let me before anybody goes. Well, give me. And look, this is on the DM online. The headline is "Letter to the Editor: A Letter Calling for Reparative Justice." I'm not making this up.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
They talk about Meek. They thank Meek. Meek's comments expressed nostalgia for institutional racism and policies of racial exclusion, both of which are represented by the buildings and monuments on our campus. In the listening session on September the 20th, students emphasized how monuments and buildings named after slave owners and segregationists act as a constant reminder of exclusion and source of harm. Removing Meek's name is a necessary but basic step in a much longer process of reparative justice. Our university must firmly stand for its stated values of intellectual excellence, non-discrimination, and inclusion and support for all its students. Thus, we ask the administration immediately take the following steps. Ida B. Wells, establish resources and scholarships for black women who are pursuing journalism degrees at the university. And finally, establish a reparative justice committee led by students and faculty in consultation with the Office of Diversity and Inclusion and the University of Mississippi Slavery Research Group to begin the process of removing the Confederate monument. Okay. We acknowledge the important efforts of the Contextualization Committee, but based on the listening session with students and our classroom discussions, we conclude that more must be done to change the hostile climate on our campus. How that got in a letter without being challenged, and that letter was published on October the 9th. Well, no. It was posted before that because today's October the 9th. It's been up for a while.
Okay. Number one, I mean, I can make a mass joke here, but I'm not because this is more serious than that. But it ties in with this. Ole Miss has got to quit only listening to students on major deals. I was an idiot at 18 years old.
Yeah.
I was an idiot at 19. I'm probably an idiot now at 34.
Well, you're less of an idiot now than you were at 18.
Point being, there's a lot more stakeholders in this than every time a couple students say something. This isn't about race. This ain't about any of this. This is about anything. And again, this is about mascots too. Every time anything happens, it's, well, the students voted and let's all change everything. It's like, well, there's context here. There's more to it. And now look, with the monuments and stuff, okay, that's been going on a while. I understand that. But you
hostile climate.
You got to be careful with your words. You got to be more be focused on what you're trying to say here.
And before anybody gets mad at us, we're reading from a letter to the editor that was written and signed by faculty at Ole Miss.
Yeah, look, is everything perfect right now? Does everything get a little better? Sure, absolutely, nothing's perfect. But hostile? I mean,
hostile climate.
I felt like over the course of time, Ole Miss, from an administration standpoint, has gone out of his way to be as inclusive as humanly possible. My opinion.
I'm just shocked. I'm shocked that no university response has come to this. Frankly, the chancellor of the university coming down and basically saying every one of those faculty members should be ashamed of themselves. No hostile climate. The climate on that university campus is not hostile. It's not. It's not hostile. But if I'm Mississippi State and I'm already kicking Ole Miss's ass on in-state recruiting, I'm highlighting that and sending it out. Hey, be careful, parents. I'm shocked, man. When I heard it, that was the sentence that stuck out in my mind. I went, "Oh my God."
quickly here because I'm probably going to need a drink in a minute. The podcast is brought to you in part by Oxford Wine and Spirits, located on College Hill Road. Go in, spend $150, bring me some, and when you do that, they'll cut you a deal. Mention the podcast, 5% off wine, 10% off liquor with Oxford Wine and Spirits. Neil and I are in there regularly. They have all the Cathead products, a good selection that gets better every single day, and their prices are 5% below industry standards before you even start the discount. So it's Oxford Wine and Spirits on College Hill Road.
I've created quite a headache for you now, and what I would suggest is that you go to the Westin Jackson. You can restore some serenity to your soul by visiting Soul Spa. It's the ultimate luxury spa experience in downtown Jackson. Indulge in personalized massages, signature facials, soothing body treatments, and much more on their extensive spa list. Escape from the everyday and rejuvenate yourself in the luxury spa today. And then, Chase, you can go to Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro. You can sip on a creative craft cocktail and enjoy their curated wine list. It's open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Chef Caden's mission is to connect guests with the community through local partnerships. Gather at Estelle today. And then you can stop by Pinnacle Trust right there in Madison, Mississippi. It represents clients in 24 states, has advisors in 3 states. It's founded in 1997. Pinnacle Trust provides detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. At Pinnacle Trust, investing is treated like a commodity, and decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. Regardless of your level of wealth, Pinnacle Trust will sit down with you, listen to your goals, study your expenses, and put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan that's made just for you. Your cookie-cutter financial planners don't do that. That's just not how they work. They get some information from you, and they throw you in a box that you share with others who are in similar financial situations. At Pinnacle Trust, they get your information, and they build a box that's just for you. To learn more about Pinnacle Trust, go to pintrust.com. That's PINN trust.com. Mention you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast, and you'll get 10% off your first year's fee.
Okay.
Y'all good?
I'm baffled.
My question is, where is the leadership response to that?
Yeah,
that demands a response.
Here's the deal. This isn't about monuments. This isn't about buildings with their names on them. Maybe you should do more. Maybe you shouldn't do more. I don't know. Ole Miss has done a lot. Not about that. This is about, coming from myself, again, somewhat of a stakeholder in this. Ole Miss goes out of its way to shoot its own foot off more than any place that I've ever seen. It's constant where you've got enough problems that you've just had to kind of repair over time without causing more yourself. And it is a complete disconnect. It is a lack of leadership. It is everything because you're allowing. Now look, again, faculty can have whatever opinion they want, but that can't become the absolute statement for the university, which is what's happened here.
Yes, it has.
You have to control that. Tenure, no tenure, employment, no employment. You don't get to be the spokesperson for the school. And that's where this thing is right now because, this all trims back to the Meek thing, obviously, but
Ed Meek did a stupid thing and they handled it.
Yeah.
They handled it. I've been critical of Vitter. Vitter was very good that day. Hey, this can't happen. But when the faculty goes another step and goes complete, I hate to break it to you guys in the faculty because here's how this thing works. And I know I'm not a college professor, but I grew up in a house with one. See, here's how this deal works. If your enrollment falls and falls and falls and you can't fill the classes, see, if there's no class to teach, there's no need for the teacher. That's kind of how that works. And I know we can't like capitalism. So you got to be careful with capitalism. It's scary, but there is supply and demand. And if all the kids go to other schools, you won't be able to put people in your classes. Now, I know that's complicated, And I hope that's not hostile. I hope that's not hurtful.
I did a quick Apple F on this with journalism and Meek in this story.
Yep.
This thing started because of journalism. Not a single journalism professor signed that letter. This is all letters signed by other people in the university.
History, theater, and film.
Yeah, anthropology.
English. I mean, I'll read it.
A lot of history. Well, there's tons. We don't have to go down the list.
I won't do it repetitive. History, Southern Studies, Sociology and Anthropology, Department of Writing and Rhetoric.
Political science, psychology.
Yeah, English.
A lot of English, law.
Yeah, Southern Studies.
Engineering. Outreach.
History and African American Studies.
University library. Somebody in the bursar department. Somebody in the Foodway Alliance department. Sociology, writing and rhetoric.
But yeah, no, so
theater
far.
and film. No journalism.
Honors College.
No one from Meek signed the letter when it's about Meek.
Sarah Isom Center for Women and Gender Studies.
A group took what happened with Meek and made that about a much larger social goal of theirs, is what happened.
Yeah. Theater and film.
Again, right
Philosophy
now
and
it's
religion.
just a letter to the editor. I get that.
Hostile.
But
The word hostile.
yeah, you had to come out immediately and condemn that.
Yeah. Hostile?
You're already having a hard time in recruiting and donations and all sorts of stuff anyway.
I mean, my response would be, give me an example of hostility. What is hostile? Hostile
Well,
implies...
I think they're implying that the names on the buildings are hostile.
Yeah, but when you say to me as a parent, okay, follow me here for a minute. You got a little while before you send the little one to college. I'm about to send one, and I got another one that's beginning the college selection process. You tell me as a parent, you let me read a faculty group that describes the atmosphere on campus as hostile, and let me tell you what I hear as a dad, and I'm a fairly smart guy, Chase.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not super smart, but I'm okay. I hear not safe. Not safe. I hear that there's protest.
Well, yeah, it sounds like what was going on at the University of Missouri.
It's exactly what I hear.
And the University of Missouri has been hammered as a university after that.
As a parent, what I hear when I read that letter is it's not safe. Now, I live in Oxford, and I know that's utter BS. But if I didn't live in Oxford and my kid was looking at Ole Miss and someone sent that to me, signed by all these members of faculty at the University of Mississippi, I would say hostile. Uh-oh. Janie, Jimmy, why are you looking at Ole Miss?
Yeah, this is a letter that took an event and tried to use it or is using it as a catalyst for their own ideals. It looks like a statement on behalf of the entire faculty, which is the problem here.
And I won't even say what I think about a couple of things. Because you can't anymore. Because if you're not politically correct, if you're not completely politically correct, you're a racist. Which is absurd.
Anyway, no, I was not aware of that. I'm glad we talked about it, and more bothered as my day is going on.
I apologize to you because when this is heard, your texts are going to light up, and every time you get one, you can go, damn it, Neil.
Oh, it's all right.
But I didn't write the letter, and I didn't include the word hostile. I would never have described the Ole Miss campus as hostile. It's not what I hear about it. I don't hear that it's hostile. But if I'm a parent of a kid and
it's a small part of this, but I'm really bothered by the letter not having any journalism people on it. They're the ones that have been dealing with this day to day.
I'm bothered that the university as an institution hasn't responded to this letter, to my knowledge. And if they have, I apologize. But if they have, I haven't seen it.
And it's not on the front of the DM, because this is. Online, at least. I haven't seen the printed copy.
It's right there.
Dang.
Hostile. Big word. 2-syllable word that is big. That's a big word. Because its implications are completely negative. If you're thinking about sending...
Oh, and the connotation is terrible. It is a loud connotation.
If you're thinking about sending your son or daughter off to college and you read the word hostile in a letter referencing the university that all of these people work for, it is a frightening thing as a parent. Campbell right now is planning to go to Arkansas. If I read the University of Arkansas faculty describing the campus life in Fayetteville as hostile, I would take that decision away from her. That's how strongly I would be. Say, whoa, I'm not sending my baby off to hostile.
It's another shot. I mean, let's just keep it real as we close this podcast. For a school dealing with some enrollment issues right now, for a school dealing with a lot of donor issues, a lot of donors will be incredibly pissed off. They've already been talking about agendas by faculties and different stuff. Again, this isn't about me. This isn't my opinion. This is right or wrong. This is what donors are talking about. Yeah. I know a lot of donors.
I'm talking as a parent.
This is going, I know, but different things, same thing.
Yeah.
This is going to just continue to ramp that up. I mean, Ole Miss has a problem right now, and it's how we come full circle and finish this. It's a leadership problem. It's an administrative problem, and it's something that until the IHL acts is not going to fix any of this. It's going to get worse and worse, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, staying in the journalism school for a second, I mean, Will Norton's done a heck of a job trying to keep peace and keep this thing, and now he's being undercut by how many ever faculty members not even in his department all of a sudden. So, anyway. All right, rebelgrove.com, a lot of content there today. Have more a little later. I got snap counts and grades. All the offense is done. I'll finish defense here in the next hour or two and throw that up at rebelgrove.com. We'll have another podcast tomorrow and the rest of the week where we'll probably discuss reaction to this as phones blow up and whatnot. So we'll talk to you tomorrow.